the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Blessings, brothers and sisters. I am Elder Ricard Shaw, the Gathering of Christ Church. All praises be to the Most High Ahaya in the name of Yeshua. I hope you all are doing well. And welcome to Decoding the Times before transitioning over to Patreon. Let's go. Let's go. Blessings. The Most High is calling back Israel.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell.
Come on.
With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the waters still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel, that's who we be, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, Ahaya's gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint to gather our wives and children and sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Ahaya gatherer. Whoa.
That's right. The Most High's gather in Israel. I'm Elder Ricard Shaw, and we're gonna jump right in with decoding the times. And yes, brothers and sisters, we're only gonna be here for a little bit before segueing over to Patreon. Again, I would like to say all praises be to the Most High Ahaya in the name of Yeshua through the Holy Spirit. And thank you all for joining us this evening. Sabbath to those who are already in it. Let's go. Let's go. For some reason, brothers and sisters, with certain titles and subjects, every Friday almost, we keep getting these messages. Check this out. I go to click in and every Friday I notice this message. Now, the topic this evening is racial politics. What is their end game? Well, folks, you're looking at my screen. Okay? I click on this screen to actually get to you all before broadcasting. And without me saying anything, right? Is this pre-censorship? Without me even talking about or even going into the topics, automatically they put on the screen, they tell me there'll be no ad earnings. That's okay because you brothers and sisters support the work anyway. Right? No ad earnings. This video is not earning from ads. So when they see this in the future, even though they'll run ads or whatever, because sometimes they do it anyway, they're saying none of the advertising money will go to this channel. When people review these videos back, the video is ineligible for ads. Advertisers do not show ads on this type of content per the advertiser-friendly content guidelines. Well, how do the advertisers know what we are going to discuss? Unless this particular I would say topic or title disturbs them. How do they know that the advertisers aren't going to like me talking about racial politics? And I'm not going to appeal. We get enough support by you brothers and sisters, so it's all good. But, you know, I was just fascinated with these new pop-ups. Racial politics. What is their end game? Okay. Now, I just put a lot of this together between the last few hours, so there's no way they can understand or exactly understand what I'm going to be teaching. Right? But it's just weird to me. But anyway, racial politics. We're going into, on the other side, the what? The Marxist Manifesto. And if you don't understand what that is, folks, I'm going to tell you right now, it's Satan's plan through systems to indirectly destroy the family. But really they're targeting the black man in particular. Okay? The Marxist ideology at the end of the day destroys the black man who is the threat, who they deem the threat to their power and or overall existence. When I say the they, we're talking about the synagogue of Satan. We're talking about Rome, the Edomites. So they indirectly attack us through these systems. And by the time we figure things out, it's too late. Also, they use these systems to not just muddy the waters, brothers and sisters, but to also confuse. One of their tactics is to make sure the masses are confused so not to know their objective. Okay? I'm going to talk about that today. And it falls in with, that's right, the Nolan Wells situation. Right? It also falls in with, you got it, the Carmelo Anthony situation. And how does it fall in? I'm going to show you all before segueing over. Okay? It all falls in line. Why? They have, listen to me clearly, folks, they have meticulously pointed out and have selected, hand-picked leaders for society, or what they call representation. But these people only represent us through symbolism, but they are all what? Schooled Marxist. Whether they want to admit it or not, and or whether they know it or not. As to why I'm bringing this out. Karl Marx so happened to have been, he was a Jewish man. But when you do the history of it, folks, Karl Marx was a Satanist. And he came up with systems that at any time they could control a population. It doesn't matter the race. Through certain what? Ideologies that's baked in within the government structure. Within the ideology, it doesn't matter whether or not it's communism. It doesn't matter whether or not it's socialism. All the same. It doesn't matter if it's capitalism. The Marxist ideology to oppress and to destroy a particular people is always in place. It's like guardrails for those who are in power. To keep the what? To keep the population destabilized and confused, so not to come together to understand the true enemy. Folks, we're talking about top psychologists who have studied all people. Right? Now, I'm going to talk about that with this particular. We're going to go into that on the other side. I'm going to open up for phone calls and or Zoom. We'll be there for an hour before I allow I bow out and allow not allow, but I'll bow out so that Ramar can come in with "You Got It" coming out of Babylon. Let's start here real quick. Let's start here real quick with Nolan Wells. Right? Let's start here. Right? As you can see, racial politics, what is their end game? Somebody out there don't like us talking about this. And you may wonder, well, why is Elder Ricard Shard talking about this, being a Bible man? Let me tell you, everyone who believes in this Bible and God in Christ should know these particular satanic systems that were set up to undermine our progress as God's chosen people. All right. All right. Let's see what so-called Reverend Al Sharpton has to say.
I want to put a reward up for $50,000 for anybody that could give the information that will lead to an arrest and a conviction in the case of what happened. He was not on that island by himself. Somebody saw something and knows something. So I didn't come to make money, I came to give money. Stand up and tell the truth. Whatever it is, good or bad, we're not going to prejudge it, but we cannot end it until we know all the facts. So all you got to do is reach out to Attorney Crump's office, and National Action Network could do that if it leads to an arrest and conviction. And I guarantee you'll have it before the sun goes down. I just got a text, Christine and Elmer, you know that Tyler Perry said he would pay for the funeral. He must be watching because he said, I'm gonna match you and put up $50,000 more. So we putting up $100,000 for anybody that'll come forward. We just want the truth, that's all. We just want the truth.
Okay. Let me first say this, brothers and sisters. There's a reason why I keep reiterating when it comes to where my family comes from, the South. And I keep reiterating this to those who've been watching this church, not just in America, but throughout the four corners of the earth. There's a reason I keep mentioning, hey, on both sides of my family, deeply rooted South. Okay? That's number one. And I keep reiterating that because why? Not just knowing the Bible, but this gives me, this gives you all a perspective from the inside when it comes to what our people had to go through. Chattel slavery, the Reconstruction, redlining, the GI Bill, where even after war, they would give all of our housing and all of that. They'll give it to white poor men as a reward for serving in the army. And our parents went back to old shacks. And I mention this so you'll understand that this experience is rooted not just in our core beliefs of the Bible, but through what? Blood. Okay, blood in the soil, sacrifice, fighting these satanic systems. And why am I going here? Outright, they'll use the South. They'll use the South because they need the South. They need blacks to stand on the side of Democrats during the midterms. Our people are backing away from the political system. And usually what they do, because they know we're spiritual people, caring people, those who believe in the Bible, they'll use a story that tug at our heartstrings for a political interest. Yes, it's a shame what our brother Nolan went through. But you have to understand when you're being played through an actual politrick. It's one thing for a young man to lose his life, and we need to get to the bottom of it, of course. I was used to that in the South. Understanding, going, don't forget, we go back for family reunions when I was growing up, all of that. The white people understood where they stood on their side of the tracks. And guess what? We understood what we knew and our strength on this side of the tracks. And it wasn't until integration, it wasn't until then, our people began to forget. Okay, our place on this side of the tracks and their side on that side of the tracks. Blurred lines, and we became what? Naive, let our guard down, and allow our brothers who are the target to think they're safe. Think they're safe amongst a racist demographic. Okay? So I'm not insensitive to it because I understand it. You can't go into Mississippi and think you can just willy-nilly operate amongst some white racists and then not only, a lot of them are poor hillbillies who don't have anything going for themselves. And the only way they operate is the only way they do what they do, if they can outnumber you. Okay? So regardless of the situation, we were warned. Our family members were warned. Nah, we don't go out with them like that. We have our own social gatherings. We don't go out to them where they grossly outnumber us. You'll come up missing. They don't embrace us like we embrace one of the white people who come amongst us and know they'll come home safe. But I'm going to tell you, It's the Marxist manifesto that have what? Our young men guards down. To make you believe that things have changed. Okay? And I'm putting that straight out there. I tell my son all the time, hey, I know you're going out. I know what's going on when after you work all week and you're in another city or whatever, and you have a nice job. But hey, this is the world we live in. Okay? Understand, nothing has changed. They've just changed the dynamics of how the game is played. But at the end of the day, if they have the numbers, listen to this. If they have the numbers, and you got a strong black young man, let me show you. A strong black young man, athlete, who excels. And one thing about athletes, right, when it comes to a form of warfare, because that's what athletics are. When it's an even playing field and all the rules are the same, we win. Okay, you can't fudge it when it comes to mano a mano physicality on the field. Okay? So they have a problem with this because why? Excel, tall, strong. And then you are amongst these other people someplace else. Who do you think these white girls are seeking to latch on to? And I'm putting it out there. Why do you think doing drafts and all of that? And you think these white hillbillies feel good about a strong athlete they know they can't beat? They know they can't beat on the field. And it's not enough of our parents telling people, hey, you're the target. See? Can't be walking around naive and not understand what your strong genes represent. Even outside of the prophecies. A strong, virile man, to some of them, according to their own systems and studies, is a threat to their future existence. The strong genes of Judah. That's right. This is how Judah multiplies in the genetic war over Esau. So you got these white girls looking at him, trying to get at him and all that, and he's a minority amongst a bunch of white racists. Same thing with Carmelo Anthony. Now, why am I bringing this up real quick? Because I'll bring you an angle that none of you have actually examined. That's why I looked into the Marxist manifesto. These people only care, folks, about a black man when it's time for them to get elected, and not care about a living black man on what they need to do to make sure the black man sustains living, whether or not he has the opportunities as everyone else. They only care about a black man for their politics when it's a dead black man. Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Nolan Wells. Y'all don't see the trick? Y'all don't see it? As if it's some type of weird satanic ritual to celebrate the death of a black man and use that death in order for them to control the levers of power, not even caring about the black man. They don't care about the black man. How do you know? They don't care. And guess what? My heart go out to the family, but folks, check out this politics. New York Times. Who makes this a headline? Black parents are rattled by Mississippi teen's death among white friends? What? This is how you know this is racial politics. What's a black parent? Why is they highlighting the person's race front and center from the New York Times, a liberal media conglomerate? This is to what? Pull at the strings of black people. A black parent. You don't care about black parents. You don't care about black. So now they're going to label it black parents to be utilized politically. Now, why am I going into this? Fair use. This just happened a couple of weeks ago.
The death of a 2-month-old.
Hold on, let me get it. I want y'all to hear this.
For Father's Day weekend is now leading to serious charges. A very disturbing story here. Columbia police telling us that 24-year-old Jatasia Shannon is charged with homicide by child abuse. She's also, though, facing multiple counts of unlawful conduct towards a child. Meanwhile, 42-year-old Derek Sumter is facing 4 counts of unlawful conduct towards a child, too. Investigators say after suffering multiple injuries, the baby was pronounced dead. Police say other children were also found living inside that same home that authorities describe as unsuitable. Shannon is currently in jail without bond. Sumter received a $400,000 bond.
Hey, folks, 2-month-old baby, one of our children, a child of Zion, killed by the parents, and they were both black, and for some reason they're not showing.
Weekend is now leading to serious charges. A very disturbing story here. Columbia police telling us that 24-year-old Jatasia Shannon is charged with homicide by child abuse. She's also, though, facing multiple counts of.
Did y'all notice that? Did y'all notice that? See, I'm going to point out things you probably would never recognize under these circumstances. They didn't need this story out there because why? It doesn't have the racial connotation that's needed to galvanize the Democrat Republic racial machine. What we see here, as far as they're concerned, is what? Business as usual. What happened here is a success. They don't want to highlight 2 black people who are engineered under their system to destroy children so that our people would begin to recalibrate. Okay? And to move our emotions towards protecting that 2-month child. And to say, listen, if it's about saving black men or black people, let's start with families like this. What have led to these 2 people killing their own child? See? They don't want us to look into this. A matter of fact, they don't even show the pictures because it would overshadow the racial component they need for the midterms. Where's Black Lives Matter? A Colombian couple charged with 2-month-old death police say. Folks, this is all up in the news at the same time, and no one, you wouldn't even knew that this happened. Everything is Nolan Wells, and I understand, but you have to realize why the satanic liberal media chooses stories that the population should care about by re-airing one thing over and over again, but not a 2-month-old child that was killed by their own mother and another 42-year-old man. You notice this? And how much they try to demonize us, folks, in a regular scenario where if we weren't in a what you would call an election cycle, they would have been plastered all over the place to show just how evil, inconsiderate, and dark we are as a people. But why isn't this being plastered all over the place? A 2-month-old child. Because they want all eyes on the politics, the racial politics that drives voting. Right? That drives voting. That's why. Now, why do they want it on that? Well, it's like this, folks. The Marxists, if they're voted in, gain control over the purse strings, over the money distribution of our communities. Excuse me. And if they have the power with their political positions in place to allocate the finances, they can now take the money we pay in our taxes to fund, you got it, the Marxist agenda to destroy us. Right? Now, let me show you this. I'm going to be talking about this on the other side. On the other side, real quick. Yes, Karl Marx and the satanic roots of communism. Karl Marx and the satanic roots of communism. Marxist ideology, folks. As a matter of fact, those over Black Lives Matter, the sisters they had over there, that had nothing to do with us. They all came out and said, yes, we are Marxist. We are trained Marxists. Barack Obama, trained Marxist. So what is that in a nutshell? What is that in a nutshell? We're going to show you. Let's see some of the ideologies Marxist believes in. Marxism and trans-liberation. If you can turn your boy into a girl or your girl into a boy, yes, the future genealogy would cease to exist. See? More. The Marxist feminism theory. If you can program or indoctrinate girls into competing with boys in the schools and or indoctrinate them in the colleges and give them a degree with their foolishness, that creates what? A toxic relationship that will eventually fail, which cuts off the family line and legacy between a man and a woman. Socialism and family. Look at this. Karl Marx in his what? Communist Manifesto He called for what? He called for the abolition of the family. The abolition, abolish the family. That's Karl Marx, the Satanist. He's a Jewish guy, a straight Satanist though, an occultist. To set up systems that convince people, that's right, to self-delete their prodigy and legacy. High level psychology. Teach people that they're so unique and strong and special that they ignore everything else that's important. A future. Yeah. Karl Marx said as much in the Communist Manifesto in 1848, in which he called for the abolition of the family. Here are your witches, your Satanists, your trained Marxists. Let's separate them from their man. Let's give them feminism, empower them long enough to destroy their men. It's the Karl Marx Manifesto. So how do we bring this around full circle? How do you know they don't care about black men? Literacy. I got a PDF here. Black men ages 16 to 24 are still behind, while we allow on media, social media, and the public, while we allow them to promote our sisters in particular as more educated over us. You don't see this with any other demographic. So this was their target, what? With the manifesto the whole time. But if we knew that their plan was to kill and to destroy the black boys and the black men who are really the true threat to them. Women don't pose the physical threat that a man does. So they'll give women all the power they want. Now that we understand that their target the whole time was the black man, to make sure that black men cannot excel above their the other's children. How does this thing with Nolan Wells and all these things come around full circle? Well, if we knew that they were planning to kill our sons, the black man, if we knew this, would we vote for them? No, we wouldn't vote for them. A matter of fact, hey, outright, really what will happen is we would circle the wagons to protect ourselves and understand that, hey, we're in a war that could break out physical at any time, understanding the enemy. So they knew that if we understood their true intentions, folks, that we wouldn't vote for them. Well, if we don't vote for them, they don't get money to fund the socialism, the communism, the feminism. So that's their incentive. They get paid to destroy us. And the only way that they can actually take hold of that bag once they're voted in is if we can agree to our own destruction by actually voting in those who are in position to destroy us. Look at the Chicago mayor. The Chicago mayor, he ran on what? Being black, against white supremacy and the patriarchy and all these hashtags and all these one-liners. Now he's laughing at all the black constituents that he has destroyed through immigration. He laughs at them. And guess what? He's firing all of the teachers and he's hiring all bilingual from other places teachers to replace the predominant black woman demographic in Chicago schools. See how Marxist works? They come in with a black sympathy story. I'm here for the blacks. I'm against Trump. Standing for what? The black woman. Anything, they'll tell you anything at the moment to get your vote, because your vote gives them access to the socialist funds that's utilized to destroy you. See how it works. So now I need y'all to what? Step back for a second. Because they're pulling everyone into the Nolan Wells things for the same reason, so they can get us emotionally tied in for their midterms. It's a spirit that goes with it. Back up for a minute. Like, hold up. They don't really care about Nolan Wells, or they would make sure they would put what? Policies in place to make sure another Nolan Wells never happens again. They would put in a hate crime bill specifically for Judah, the black man. Another term out there, FBA. When things like this happens, the other nations would know that there would be consequences or hell to pay for destroying a black man. So no, take a step back. If they cared about Nolan Wells, they would make sure laws was in place so that another Nolan Wells could never happen again. But now it's Nolan Wells. The other election cycles, it was who? George Floyd. Are we starting to see a pattern here? Are we starting to see the only way they care about a black man if they can use his death to get elected? Huh? Think about it. The only value your sons have to them is dead with what? A white suspect. If they cared about Nolan Wells or people who look like him, they would make sure that our literacy would be above our women. They would focus on that because what? Women would have more what? Respectful men that they would respect to marry. They wouldn't celebrate black women's literacy over a black man. If they cared about black men, they would promote black men's literacy above so that our sisters can have what? Men that they can marry and respect. They would have a hate crime bill in place so that if anybody kill our people, there would be legal consequences. They want us, they just galvanizing, again, the same Democratic machine to get us emotionally involved so that we can vote for more of our sons being destroyed without any legal protection. Will our people fall for the politics again? Last but not least, before I go to the other side, I so happen to have some of the Marxist strategies with me. Check out, and they already, folks, they voted in one. Mandani, an East Indian socialist from Africa, folks. So what we have witnessed and talked about for years on how they have destroyed Africa, and to the degree where Africa for generations has stayed stagnant without progress. Right? Think about that. They're doing that model here in America so that they can destroy Judah here. They're bringing these Marxists from other countries and put them in political positions. That's why I don't trust their healthcare system. I don't trust when they tell us this be good for my child or that be good for my child. No, I'm a Bible man. God is good for my child. The herbs of the earth is good for my child. And I have the right. We're not living in communist China. We have a right to disagree, even if they don't think so. All right? Now, before I go there, let me show one more thing. One more thing here. Let me show here. Not him. I'll show him later. One other thing I wanted to show, if I have it. Hold on, let me grab it. 1 second. Another thing. And don't forget, folks, it was Barack Obama was able to bring all. They knew that if they were going to bring in the destructive ideology to destroy us all together, that they would have to do it with someone who appears to look like us. And it was liberals, Satanists behind the Black Lives Matter. These people were just token pieces put before us as if they were activists who were standing for the protection and justice of black people. Going back to them giving a reward and all these others with your Al Sharpton and all these others. Al Sharpton only care about whether or not this can yield more votes for the Democrats. $100,000 is nothing to pay for that. Let's see what else Karl Marx was about. Number 2, they quickly realized that the way to completely change society was to destroy the most important civil society institution, the family. A Marxist ideology. You want to destroy a people? Well, guess what? Let's start with the family. No family, no nation, no people. See? And this is why the Democrats don't push family. Transgenderism, socialism, feminism. And at the end of it, it's the black man alone waiting to get destroyed by all the systems that has been created against him. See that? So at the end of it, you destroy the black man, then the black seed cease to exist. And then they have successfully, through their psychology, destroyed the future of God's people. Among the 13 guidelines principles of BLM, we see a call for the disruption of the nuclear family. So don't come to me talking about y'all care about Nolan Wells' family. Or y'all care about any black man's family. Get out of here. It's only photo ops to get us emotionally triggered and drawn into their Marxist craft. It's sorcery, folks. It's sorcery. So now folks, they're pushing this story so that they can now move their socialism and all of that into the South. The only real resistance against evil are those who are still a part of what? God's church, following the Bible, believing in Christ. Well, folks, this is the last satanic colonizing frontier to make the Bible and those who believe in it extinct. Who will fall for their politics? And the one way to overcome this, brothers and sisters, is to uphold what they're trying to destroy, because that's what we have control over: our family. It doesn't matter what your class is, as far as classifications, whether middle class, high class, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how much money you have. You have control over your temple, and you have control over your family. So that's how we counter what they're doing. Understand what they're seeking to destroy and strengthen it. And this is not to ignore the black women, the young girls. This is to prioritize the men, the boys, so that the young girls can grow up and have someone to marry. It's prioritizing. It's not one or the other like the Democrats try to make it. They try to make it like you got to choose between the black girls or the black boys. That's ridiculous. We will prioritize the black boys so that the young girls can have someone to marry and protect them when they're of age. Going back to the other day when Elder Lawyer and us was here last Wednesday, a few days ago, to show you the tricks of Esau, which is Marxism. They promised that they would do what? Let us oppress the poor, righteous man. See? This is why they'll throw our women trinkets and make our women and train our women to believe that they should compete with us. Because they would rather fund the weaker vessel to destroy us from the inside, where the black man is being destroyed indirectly. And at the end of the day, we'll be celebrated once what? Their plan has been accomplished. We're being celebrated as black men in our death, so that the socialists and the Marxists can now get paid to fund, to do what? To create more death in our communities. How many Nolan Wells were sucked out of their mother's womb with what they call reproductive rights? See, and that's why you all come here, so that we can all get what? So we can reason logically with the word of the Most High, understanding what you and I are up against being God's people. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow. They could care less about women. Once women age to a certain point where her sexuality cannot be used as currency to sell or whatever the case is, that when a woman grows beyond her sexual attraction to be utilized in this world, she's discarded. That's how Esau see it. She's useless. As long as there's some appeal with the woman, she can be utilized for marketing or whatever. So they only focus on a girl when they're at their what? At their prime peak of attraction, because that's when they can be utilized. But once you get old, as a widow or older, the corporations will kick her behind out that seat. As I've been here 20, 30 years. Well, nah, it's time to hire the next young thing. The cycle continues. It's Marxism, folks. Marxism is a satanic ideology that keeps society continually. That's right. at odds with one another. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous. Maybe we'll invite them on an island to have a good time. And once they're grossly outnumbered and they're by themselves and isolated, the cowards will do what they've always done. We'll hang the black man. And guess what? That's why we can't let the Democrats use this crap, because they were the ones hanging us in Mississippi all these years. Before the civil rights movement, it was them hanging us. It was them fighting to keep us in slavery, folks. Let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. And this is what they're saying. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. So they said, folks, that they were going to use the law of justice to keep us under subjection. So again, Elder Dell, I seen you deleted Georgia Banks' message. What did Georgia Banks say? Because if it's something that that leads to a healthy discourse, I'm willing to conversate about it. I'm willing to talk to her about it. Right? So again, we feel for the young men. We do this so that we teach so that men can grow into who they are according to the Almighty, to understand the world they're navigating. Okay? But all in all, we can't allow these Satanists to use every crisis or every tragedy that happens with our people as something that can benefit the evil Democrat Party. What we have to say is, if the conversation is going to come and you bring it to us, now let's discuss legislation and others so this never happens again to a Nolan Wells. Hate crime bill. What about reparations for the children of Judah here? So no, you can't use it to say, okay, the bad racist Republicans, when we know the Democrats are just, they are as racist, if not worse, than the Republicans. Yeah, another thing, if people disagree with what we're saying, let me tell you, it lends to a healthy dialogue. So what I would suggest going forward, instead of immediately deleting people, even if they disagree, text my phone and let me know who they are and what they've mentioned, and I'll bring them on Zoom so that they can produce their cause. Let them produce their cause. If they have something to say in the comments, bring a face with it. And you know what? I'm open for a healthy discourse. If it leads to what? If it leads to edifying for those who come here to be edified. Someone says reparations is the same as the mark to me. Well, Ann, smile, that's to you. I would have to disagree, because the Bible states clearly what the mark of the beast is. So that's not open for a discourse. That's your opinion. But you can't say something is the same as a prophecy in the Bible that's easily described, that no one can buy or sell without it. People can buy or sell with or without reparations. So one has nothing to do with the other. Okay? So Elder Dell, that's how we're going to do it from now on. If someone says something that you know is against the doctrine or against what we say, or as long as they're respectful, text my phone, give me their name and what they're talking about. I'll send a link for them to come in and tell me to my face what the issues are, or whether or not they have an opposing view that needs attention. Okay? With that, I'll see you on the other side. I'll only be on for 1 hour. We're going to talk about the Marxist manifesto on the other side. And again, don't allow these Democrats to draw you into an emotional decision. They're controlling your emotions. And if they can control that, they have control over you. They don't care about you or what. That party wouldn't deem getting rid of our babies as a right. They wouldn't deem separating our women from us and empowering them over us as a necessity to fight against the patriarchy. They wouldn't be suggesting behind our backs that it's okay for our children to decide to change their gender. Okay? So again, these people are soulless. They'll only use a black man's death if it means, that's right, that they can get votes. Shalom, see you on the other side. Let's break down this Marxist manifesto. Blessings. Go to Patreon.com/AGathering144. That's right. Patreon.com/AGathering144 to join us on the other side as we continue every Friday decoding the times. This coming Sunday, we'll be talking about what? You got it. Tracing the serpent seed, the next level. Tracing the serpent seed, a satanic seed, a physical seed is in this earth that's connected to the high politicians over all governments. The fallen angels were here and are here. There is no aliens, folks. They've always been here, and they came from out of the ice that we now call Antarctica. We're going to discuss that and more this coming Sunday, tracing the serpent seed in your Hebrew and Bible Academy. With the news, and our news is not like anything on earth, folks. And breaking down what's going on overseas, international, as well as what's happening within the earth. Okay? And yes, Elder Lawyer has conversational Hebrew and all of that. You don't want to miss this academy. We're only in we're only in week 3, so enroll. And if you're busy Sunday, don't worry about it. We'll still give you the links to see it, to view the whole academy at your convenience. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. Shalom. Patreon.com/AGathering144. Shalom.